Welcome to East Meets West, Women Icon Makers of West Ukraine. I'm John Cohan from the Sacred Art Pilgrim collection, and this film looks at the sacred art scene in Lviv. With constantly changing rulers and boundary lines, the city at the cultural heart of West Ukraine, and the center of the new school of iconography represented in this show, underwent a number of name changes during its troubled history. We know the city now by its Ukrainian name, Lviv. It's a favorite base camp for Western journalists covering the Russian invasion to the east, and one of my favorite destinations in Eastern Europe. Under Polish rule, it was called Lwów. It was Lemberg for the Austrians, and in its days in the Soviet Empire, the city was known by its Russian variation, Lwów. The fact that the historic center of Lviv has remained largely unchanged down the centuries is nothing short of a miracle. Here is a postcard when it was a Polish city in 1924. This is the same view in a contemporary photograph. Lviv has preserved enough examples of Renaissance, Baroque, Neoclassical, Vienna Secessionist, Art Nouveau, Art Deco, and early modernist architecture to earn its historic center a place on the UNESCO World Heritage List. The religious art in this borderland region where the Latin West meets the Byzantine East has been influenced by both cultures. In this early 16th century icon of St. George, the dragon slayer appears here as a knight in shining armor with a medieval European castle in the background. The Cyrillic lettering at the top is in Gothic-styled script. The key figure in bringing West Ukrainian religious culture into the modern era was Metropolitan Andrei Sheptytsky of the Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church. Born in 1865 to a family of Polonized Ukrainian aristocrats, he guided this partly Eastern, partly Western church founded in the 1596 Union of Brest for over 40 years. He was a good shepherd to his flock during 2 world wars and the Soviet and German occupations of West Ukraine, dying just after the Red Army re-entered Lviv in 1944. Metropolitan Sheptytsky was a dedicated patron of the arts. His extensive collection of icons became the foundation of a church museum he established in 1905 that is now the vastly expanded Andrei Sheptytsky National Museum of Lviv. The religious works from artists supported by the Metropolitan on display in the contemporary section of the National Museum give us a glimpse of the lively Ukrainian Greek Catholic art scene in the first decades of the 20th century. Artists influenced by a variety of contemporary European movements all found their place. The art of Modest Sosienko brings to mind the Vienna Secessionists. Pietro Holodny offers us a Ukrainian variation of Art Nouveau. The paintings of Alexei Novakievsky show the influence of the Symbolist movement, and Mikhailo Boychuk worked in a Neo-Byzantine style. Boychuk was one of nearly 300 Ukrainian intellectuals, writers, and artists murdered in the killing fields of the Soviet secret police in 1937 in what is known as the Executed Renaissance. The bold renewal of sacred art promoted by Metropolitan Sheptytsky did not survive the Second World War. When Stalin forced the Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church to merge with the Russian Orthodox Church in 1946, Ukrainian Greek Catholic believers were forced into the underground with little sacred art but what could be carried in their pockets and easily hidden. Mostly holy cards from Europe in a sentimental style and poor art reproductions, as you can see in this album of images that once belonged to a priest of the Catacombs Church. The church would remain in the underground until Mikhail Gorbachev restored its legal rights in 1989. The art pieces you see on display in East Meets West, Women Icon Makers of West Ukraine, are a visually stunning expression of the Renaissance of Greek Catholic culture, which has been going on in the 30 years since Ukraine gained its independence. Art makers are rediscovering the lost cultural legacy of the Sheptytsky era and drawing on what is best in contemporary international art. This exhibition focuses on the works of 8 innovative women icon makers of a new Lviv School of iconography who have achieved recognition in a religious art genre traditionally dominated by men. The freedom to develop individual styles and signed finished pieces has given women who were always anonymous icon makers the chance to come out of the shadows and be recognized. The new school of iconography has come about largely through the vision and energy of Roman Vasilik. The brother of a Ukrainian Greek Catholic bishop in the underground church, Vasilik taught himself how to make icons and decorated consecrated panels of cloth used in place of altars in clandestine celebrations of the Eucharist, a work so secret he even hid it from his wife. Vasilik recognized the need for a new kind of religious art for Ukrainian Greek Catholics once the church was legalized, and set up a 6-year study program in sacred art at the National Academy of Arts in Lviv in 1995. All the artists in the show are graduates of the Academy. All but one were students of Vasilik and Lubyatsky in the Sacred Art Department. The new icon makers of Lviv are fortunate to have found a space to exhibit their work in the Icon Art Contemporary Sacred Art Gallery in the Armenian quarter of Lviv's historic Old Town. This unique art venture is owned and operated by the husband and wife team of Konstantin Shumsky and Mariana Baran. They are the face of the new Ukraine, men and women who were barely in their teens when the Soviet Union broke apart. They are savvy about the social media, defenders of democratic values, and see themselves as Europeans. Since opening its doors in 2010, the Icon Art Gallery has held over 135 exhibitions. This is a show I attended in 2019 with new works from Lubyatsky. The gallery organized a group exhibit on Easter themes in time of war in April 2022 titled Waiting for Salvation, with our exhibition artists Uliana Tamkevich and Katarina Kuziv in attendance. Our Women Icon Makers show includes artworks from this Easter exhibit, just arrived from Lviv. Katarina Shadrina's icon, We Are Together, shows grieving followers of Christ on Easter Saturday. It brings to mind scenes of Ukrainians taking shelter from Russian rocket attacks in a Kiev metro station in the opening days of the war. As in art, so it is in life. Christians in the West often hold icons at arm's length as if they were ancient artifacts. You get a very different view talking with the women icon makers in this exhibit. One rule of icon making for Uliana Tamkevich is whether she can pray before her finished pieces. As she once told me, icons fulfill a function. You can design a beautiful chair, but you have to be able to sit in it. Katerina Kuziv says she wants her icons to be something living that a person can connect to. During my travels to Lviv looking for icons these last 5 years, I discovered one depiction of the Last Judgment on the entrance wall of a chapel that made me do a double take. There at the left hand of the Son of God, among the damned on the Day of Judgment, are Vladimir Putin and Russian Orthodox Patriarch Kirill. It is ironic but deadly serious in meaning for the student artist who painted the mural. Before the Russian invasion in 2022, as many as 14,000 soldiers and civilians had already died in 8 years of fighting at Ukraine's eastern borders. This sign that I saw posted on a Lviv church railing in 2017 is even more relevant today. Pray for peace in Ukraine, and pray, if you wish, before icons.